Hey there, this is an updated Doomshot farming guide showing you how you can solo farm the best arrows in Season of Discovery on a hunter. Doomshot are the best arrows in the game, and they drop off of the Shadow Hunter in Lower Blackrock Spire. They have a 30% drop rate, but you can also get BOE Rogue Tier 0 gloves, which may end up selling for quite a bit. Timing is everything for these runs because of patrols, so you want to enter the dungeon ready to go in Cheetah. Use your pet to pull mobs out of the way, then you're running by and feigning past those first big pack of mobs down below. This next pack through the doorway will sometimes aggro and sometimes they won't. You always want to be targeting the raider and be ready to scatter shot because the raider will net you, which can lead to a death if you've already used Feign Death. Once you get past them and up the hill onto this ledge, it is a safe spot, so the mobs will eventually de-aggro. This is where you will want to have either a parachute cloak or a few stacks of Noggin Fogger or both. The parachute cloak is great because even though it has a 30-minute cooldown, it is a guaranteed slow fall, so you save time that you would otherwise use to spam Noggin Foggers. When you do this jump, you need to make sure that you have aspect of the cheetah on. If you don't, you will not make it and you will fall below and you will probably have to die and reset. Before you jump, make sure that you either activate the cloak or have the Noggin Fogger slow fall buff up. Once you are in mid-air, you want to actually take aspect of the cheetah off because you may aggro the mobs that you are flying into and get hit before you touch the ground, and that can daze you and it may get you killed. There is also a chance that the 3-pack that you fly into includes a 4th mob called a Shadow Priest. If that mob is there, you need to target that mob and be ready to scatter shot it because it can hex you and that can also get you killed. Once you get down below and feign death, if you have made good time, the patrol down below will be where you need it to be for you to fight and kill them and not have to wait for them to patrol all the way around that bottom room. The headhunter will only use range attacks against you, so you can drop a freezing trap for the berserker and then just kill the headhunter 1v1. Most of the troll mobs in Lower Blackrock Spire will run away at low health, so be aware of that throughout this run. Once this patrol is dead, you want to put your pet on stay down in this bottom corner. You're going to be using your pet to pull mobs down here and kite up and down the ramp. As you come back up, you want to look for this single mob that patrols up and down this V-shaped ramp. You should be able to solo and kill it pretty easily. This next pack that you want to mark up is always a 3-pack, and it always has 2 axe throwers, but the 3rd mob can either be a Shadow Priest or a Mystic. You also want to mark and pay attention to this single mob that patrols around the entire room. Once you're full health and mana, send your pet into pull, and as it's running up the ramp, drop a frost trap on this corner. After you've dropped the trap and your pet is running into pull, you want to get as far away as possible because the Shadow Priest will hex you if you're too close, and it will dispel any buffs that you have. If you aren't able to tank the axe thrower damage, then you may want to hold off on using things like multi-shot or other cleave abilities and instead let your pet tank them for a bit longer than what you see in this video. Once you clean up this 3-pack, you're going to be looking to pull that single patrol that you marked earlier. As you see in this run, I don't pull the patrol fast enough here because I'm eating and drinking, so I end up having to feign and then wait out the duration of a freezing trap. This is a little bit of a lost time, but it doesn't ruin the run. Once the mobs reset, I'm able to get the patrol as it's moving between the packs. I can solo blow it up, so I don't worry about pet pulling it, but once I pull it far enough down the ramp, I bring my pet up just to help DPS. At this point, once you've killed the corner 3-pack and the patrol, you can move into the boss room. This is one of the trickier aspects of these runs. Jumping onto the ledge in the boss room is an important skill you'll want to hone. Utilize the candles and clip into the wall, then hop up onto the ledge. Once you're up on this ledge, you can start marking targets. You'll want to kill the seer first, since it will actually cast on you and continue to attack you even though you're up on the ledge, so you can just 1v1 it while the rest of the mobs are aggroed and running after your pet. The rest of the mobs will evade if they ever get aggro on you while you're on the ledge. Once you kill the seer, the Mystic will be your second target, then the Shadow Priest, and then the Shadow Hunter. When you bring your pet in, make sure that it gets aggro on all 4 mobs, and then you can open up on the seer. Once the seer is dead, you want to turn and look down off of this ledge to down below and target one of the orcs down there. Send your pet to attack one of those mobs. This will send your pet far enough away that it will despawn, which will mean that the remaining mobs from that pull will aggro to you. At this point, you want to jump off the ledge and run back down the ramp towards where your pet is. Once you get close enough to the mob, mobs, feign death to reset them, then go down and reset up your pet. At this point, you sort of get to choose how much you want to try to bite off. You can try to kill all 3 of the remaining mobs in one pull, or you can use that same strategy of split pulling them and then sending your pet after an orc down in the quarry below to kill 1 or 2 at a time, then reset, then kill the remaining mobs. It depends on how comfortable you are and how tanky and bursty you are. You see here that even though I have a lot of practice doing these runs, I still have issues jumping up on the ledge. It's just one of those things that you'll get used to and you'll get better at. At the start of this next pull, you want to wait for your pet to get up here and get aggro on all 3 mobs, then open up on the Mystic. As soon as the first attack lands on the Mystic, you want to jump off the ledge so that the mob doesn't evade and regen back to full health. Once you kill the Mystic, you can send your pet down to one of the orcs down below to despawn it, or you can opt to try to kill the other 2 mobs. An important note here, the mobs came back to me even though I haven't done anything to them. The reason is because when they got down within range of my pet, they hexed it, which meant that they ignore my pet and come back to me. This is actually what you want to have happen anyway, and once they get back to you, you can burst them, and there's a good chance they will hex you and then swap back to your pet. Once you pop out of the hex, you're going to have more threat than your pet since you've been attacking those mobs, so they will come back to you. You can use the hex to your advantage to bounce the mobs back and forth between you and your pet, and it means that you never have to use feign death. One important note though is that they don't always polymorph your pet. So sometimes when you're killing that Mystic, you actually need to kite it down towards them so that you can get in range to pull the mobs off of your pet and then kite them back up to the boss's room. Once all of these mobs are dead, you are left with just the boss and the 2 adds. Your pet is still on stay down below. As you mana up and heal before pulling the boss and the 2 adds, you want to turn off your pet's sprint and then send it on the boss. As your pet's on the way up and getting closer, you want to watch the mobs because they will swap between kneeling and standing. You want to time it so that your initial burst happens when they are all kneeling so that you get guaranteed crits on all 3 of them. As soon as you open up on them, use your pet's sprint, make sure that your pet attacks the boss, and then send it back to its stay position down below as quick as you can. It's important you do this as fast as possible because you want your pet on the threat table to bounce the mobs back and forth, but if your pet sticks around too long, you and your pet can both get hexed, and when that happens, they will just attack you because you have the most threat, and they will probably kill you before you pop out of the hex. Once your pet gets away, you can keep fighting the mobs. There's a good chance that one of the 3 of them will hex you, which means that they then all go down after your pet. The other option is to just feign death, dropping all threat so that they then go after your pet. If you do feign death, then you can follow them down, make sure that you pop Aspect of the Cheetah on the way down there, and then once you pull them off your pet, you can kite them all the way back up to the boss's room. The boss will occasionally stop to cast an ability, and you can pump some extra damage into him at this time. Don't worry about the cast though, it's not going to affect you. Once you are back up into the boss's room, as the mobs are closing in on you, they will either hex you and then go after your pet again, or you can just feign death. One thing to note, as the mobs run around up top, you may see them actually dealing damage to your pet. This is just because of Z-axis shenanigans. Pay attention to your pet's health. If it dies, you will need to feign and reset. Once the 2 adds are dead, the boss will still hex you and bounce between you and your pet. If your pet's health is getting too low, then you can actually move farther down towards your pet and feign death there and then bounce back and forth, and the boss will never be over the Z-axis of your pet, so it'll keep your pet from getting hit. There are a lot of strange little things like this that happen during these runs, but you'll get used to troubleshooting them as you go. Every time you feign death and you're out of combat, remember it's a good opportunity to drop an immolation trap or to drink and eat if you need. This particular run takes me just over 13 minutes, even with some of these mistakes. And as we see, there's no Doomshot, unfortunately, and no rogue gloves. If you get used to this farm, you'll do a run about every 15 minutes, which means you can use Parachute Cloak about every 2 runs, and then you can supplement with Noggin Foggers in between. Once you're done, just simply do a log out and reset, and go again. Good luck, get those arrows, and if you found this helpful, please consider subscribing, liking, or tossing a comment below.